Hi, everybody. This is Spencer Rutledge, WRPB Studios, and with me today I have Bobby Leone with Acquisitions Expert.
Hi, Spence. How are you today?
And I understand that in the acquisitions, buying and selling of a business, expertise in particular areas can be important, where you might be have a knowledge and expertise in certain industries. And my understanding is that one of your specialties is restaurants, knowing restaurants, buying and selling restaurants, and how that can be totally different than, say, buying and selling a video service business.
Absolutely.
Something like that. So can we talk about restaurants a little bit?
I'd love to.
What makes them different from buying and selling?
So, me being a restaurant guy prior to being an acquisition guy, a business broker, I spent most of my adult life in the restaurant world. And, to me, it's just another industry, it's just another world. But now as I've become a business broker and understand the logistics and the numbers, and I see where, a restaurant is so much different than a lot of other industries. And maybe, one of the biggest components there is that there's still a lot of cash that's transferred in the restaurant industry, and that makes it a little difficult to narrow in on exactly how much money is the place making. So you have to have a little bit of expertise. If you're trying to help a buyer or a seller, you need a little expertise to know how to show where this money is being hidden. Do you follow me?
I think I'm following you. So there's some indicators for that, I guess, right?
There's definitely indicators.
So you have a trained eye.
Yeah, and I can't sit here and say that I wasn't the same person or same business owner as a lot of these people. And not all of them run their ship the same way, but the majority of restaurants have a cash component. Now, in the past 5 or 10 years, that cash component has gone down a lot. When I first started doing business brokerage, and I came out of selling point of sale specifically to the restaurant industry. So I really understood how the numbers worked or how they didn't work, where they weren't showing up. So now, 10, 13 years ago, a common number was, a restaurant did 50-50, 50% cash, 50% credit. And 5 years ago, it was probably 65, 70% credit, 30%, 35% credit card. In 2020, it's probably 80, 20, 90, 10.
80% credit card, 20% cash?
Yes. Mm-hmm. So the cash component has still, it's still there. And for, some places, it's still that 40, 50%, particularly like Italian restaurants that do pizza, because you go in and at lunchtime or during dinner hour, you've got, 2 slices and a Coke and it's $5 or $6. A lot of people still will throw $5 or $6 up on the counter and they're not using a card. Whereas opposed to, the fine dining or somebody sitting down, now they're ordering a whole pie and maybe your dinner and a couple of drinks, a glass of wine, they might use the card there. So there's still a cash component. I think more importantly, what we look at today is we look at, and this is where a business broker comes in hand, because, if you're a savvy restaurateur and you've been doing it, you've been running restaurants for a long time, everything I'm about to say in the next couple of minutes or the next few episodes. But if you're new to the industry and you're breaking in and you've decided to buy a business instead of build a business, which I always think is a better idea, one of the main factors that we look at is the cost of goods. Because in the cost of goods, I will see, let's just take round numbers. In a pizza place, mm-hmm. You're probably running under a 30% food cost, especially if the majority of the sales is pizza, because as you know, there's a lot of dough in pizza,
so to speak.
So to speak, there's always a lot of dough, and so a few things we look at is if that cost of goods is very high, if it's hitting into the 40s, mm-hmm. Well, we pretty much know right there that there's a cash component that's not coming into the sales side of the equation.
Right.
That if we add another 100,000 to the sales, that'll probably drop that cost of goods down to the 30% or below that 30%, which is what we're looking for.
I think I'm getting this, so I want to make sure. So that in a pizza business, the cost of goods is going to average some number in the mid-30s, we'll say. And if that cost of goods shows higher, it's probably an indicator that sales aren't being recorded, so that this fixed cost, it shows up as a higher percent. Is that right?
Correct. So, a lot of my personal experience, and I've owned a restaurant, I've owned a deli, a butcher shop. I have the personal experience as well as from my point of sale days. The first thing I go to look for is the point of sale report, because most people don't have the ability to go in and manipulate those numbers, and those numbers don't necessarily transfer to the tax return, but it usually gives you an excellent indicator of exactly what they did in sales.
And you know this because you dealt in point of sale systems for 10 years or so.
Correct. So that's a very important number. I go right to the sales report on the POS system. I don't care what system they're using. They all generate the same type of reports. And I look for the total sales. And then I'll even look at, the discounts or the voids, because maybe the vendor, the owner is smart enough to know to delete or void a certain amount of cash sales so that they don't show up on that report. So I go and look at that. But usually that number on the point of sale report, that's usually the true number.
Okay.
So.
And you know how to look for these things.
Absolutely. And not, I can tell you this. In my industry of being a business broker, the majority of business brokers out there want nothing to do with selling restaurants, bars, lounges, grills.
Why is that?
It's a crazy phenomenon. Now you've met Ken Elkin, you've
Yes.
met Dale Armour. Hopefully you'll meet John Brogan, the other guy in our, and you met Steve. 3 out of 4 of them will never take a restaurant deal. I'm the restaurant guy for acquisition experts. 90% of the time, 95% of the time, if the call comes in and it's a restaurant, they just say, "We got a great guy for you, Bob Leone. Here's his number. We'll give him your number." And so the reason behind that is that when you deal with businesses that there's cash, there's a lot of work to be done, because I've got to pull out of you, what I need to show that you actually make what you make. So if I don't have that ability, and it's more work than a regular business where I'm just saying, give me your tax returns, and whatever the tax return says is what the tax returns say.
So there's got to be a lot of little subtleties involved that you're looking for.
Absolutely.
Different things. So what are some of those things that you look for in addition to the point of sale information?
So, when I get the tax return, and the tax return shows me that, your business that you've now owned for 10, 15, 20 years, and you lost $1,000 this year, and it's your 18th year, I kind of know that can't be right, because you've raised kids, you've put them through college, and you're still losing money in your business. So.
Well, that would be true of a lot of businesses, though, not just restaurants, right?
Right. But it's more. It's more.
It's easier to do that.
It's easier for some reason. So restaurant people, I'm a restaurant guy. I was a chef, and I know how to speak to chefs. And a lot of time the chef is the owner of the restaurant, and so I build up a quick rapport, because I know how to cook, and I know how to butcher, and I know how to do all of those things, so that the only way this works is if I can get you to be honest with me. And of course, at first, you don't know me.
Right.
And so I got to develop that rapport with you and let you know that I understand the business.
Yep.
I'm not the IRS. I'm not the tax man. I'm not the man. I just want to get you the most money for your business. And unless I have the truth, or close to the truth of how it all works, I can't get you the full value for your business.
I've always wondered about when it comes to selling your business, it's kind of like your baby. You know, if you've been at it for a while, it's your baby. How much emotional attachment is there to these businesses, or is it for restaurants in particular, or is it the same for any business?
So, great question, because, you know, restaurant people, and I consider myself a restaurant person that was very blessed that I was able to get out of it 25 years ago. But I love the industry. I think it's a great industry. I think it's pretty easy to get into the restaurant industry. So an owner of a restaurant is somebody that puts in normally 12 to 16 hours a day in their facility.
Wow.
You know, and most business owners don't put in 12 to 16. So they develop quite an intimate relationship with their business. And whether the business looks like or it doesn't look like it, they love their little business. Now, unfortunately, like most industries, people don't plan correctly. They plan for their wedding, they plan for their funeral, they plan for their retirement, they plan for everything in life, but they don't plan to sell their business. Mm-hmm. And that's what these videos are hopefully going to help, you know, our community get to understand, is that, you know, we can get more money for your business down the road if we sit down now and have a conversation to discuss what you might need to change in order to get more value 2-3 years from now.
So as a result of this cup of coffee with you, we'll say, discussing business, I'm guessing they're going to take away 3 or 4 things that they might want to do and consider doing now to make their sale go better and go bigger.
Absolutely, you know, and that's the killer in my business, is that I do a lot of free work, which is fine. You know, you know me a long time. I like just helping people. You know, this is November, Gratitude Month, and you know we used to do the big Thanksgiving feed up in Fort Pierce, and so I love just helping people. And you know, I have a set of knowledge now that most people do not have, and so if I can give somebody 2 or 3 little tips over a cup of coffee, that's going to help them 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the road here, I love to do that.
Now, I know that, Bobby, you know the Treasure Coast very, very well. But if someone wants to buy a business outside of the Treasure Coast, let's say maybe across the state somewhere, would you be able to be of value to them?
Absolutely. You know, again, I'll talk about, you know, I'm a member of the Business Brokers of Florida. It's a statewide organization. We have over 1,100 agents, and we tie into one MLS system. And that gives me the ability to say, you know, Spencer, so you want to be in Tampa, or you want to be in Miami, or you want to be in Jacksonville, or wherever it might be, you know, we can navigate through that MLS system and see exactly what is available. The more value that I bring to you, as me being a buyer's broker, is that I'm going to get information from the other broker a lot easier than you will. You know, because if I've done my work correctly with you, where I've gotten your, you know, personal financial statement, where we show that you have enough money to actually execute a deal, and I show them a nice little resume that shows that you have some background or at least management skills from a bigger business that you ran or a corporate position that you had. Now I'm going to go to a broker that I've met at a conference or met somewhere or done another deal with. I'm going to say, hey, Joe, listen, I've got this guy, Spencer. He's a great guy. Here's his personal financial statement. Here's his resume. Give me everything you got on the business we're looking at, and he's going to happily turn that over to me. Where with you, he's going to have to go through that whole pre-qualification stage first, and he still might not be as giving as he will be with me.
So would it be a stretch to say that if you're interested in buying a business in the state of Florida, you're one of the best guys to contact, period?
I would agree with that. You know,
not too big a stretch?
Not too big of a stretch. There's a couple of guys that have made this their industry of choice. Mm-hmm. You know, we have a pretty big competitor, and they actually use that in the name of their business. But I think because of my years of industry experience and the point of sale business experience tied into being a business broker, I'm probably your best advocate, whether you're on the buy side or the sell side.
Well, then I guess it's just left up to contacting you. So how do they get a hold of you, Bobby?
The best way to get a hold of me is on my cell phone. That's 772-621-0528. That's Bob Leone with Acquisition Experts. And Spence, thanks a lot. It's been great being on here with you.
It has been great. And I know that I'm not going to buy a restaurant if it's 12 to 15 hours every day. It's like, that one's not for me. Thanks, Bobby.
Thank you.